creating positive change in the world around us is extremely important. Yet, it isn't always clear how we can succeed as change agents. What I've discovered is that when change happens, it can appear to be magical. You might have even heard someone remark that a change was like pulling a rabbit from a hat. I've been on a journey for the last 4 years to understand the relationship and intersection between change and magic. I'm absolutely convinced that there are lessons from magic that leaders can follow to drive change within their organizations. Why magic? Magic has an effect on us. It takes us on a journey into a new way of thinking. Magic helps us to see new possibilities. Magic changes our perspective. I want to share 3 things I've learned from magic that you can apply to become a better agent to change the world around you. So the first thing I'm going to share with you is something you're probably not going to want to believe. I promise I'm not lying to you. I've collaborated with some wonderful people who've put in a lot of thought here, and I've come to a conclusion that is counterintuitive, and it probably won't sit well with you initially. Deceiving people is not necessarily a bad thing. People deceive you all the time. Think about an actor. Just think for a minute about your favorite actor. These people are pretending to be something that they're not. And if you met them in person, you would trust them and what they had to say. But your entire understanding and concept of who they are is based upon a deception, upon a lie, of something that they claim to be. So, you're walking into this situation trusting someone that has been deceiving you all along. And you respect their craft, and you think they're cool. But you're connecting emotionally to a person that deceives you. What's behind that? The way that we think about magic, deception, and trust is it's self-deceiving. Magic is a form of deception. Deception is the reverse of magic. What you experience as magic, a magician knows as deception. There are many ways to deceive people. Magic is just one. Lying, cheating, cons, and violations of accepted standards all break trust and are forms of deception. Storytelling, acting, make-believe, and playfulness are also forms of deception. But like magic, these more playful forms are different. The word deception makes us think that something bad is happening. But in these playful forms of deception, trust is actually built. Why is that? They're forms of seductive deception. Seductive deception draws us to somewhere we are willing to go. If we're willing to take a journey towards the blurry edge of possibility, and deception is the vehicle to take us there, it is okay. Think about it. Deception is often thought of as a bad word, but the effect of deception is not necessarily a bad thing if we're prepared for it. A magician brings you into a space and they tell you they will do something impossible, and then they do it, and you don't know how. They do it and they gain your trust. But let me tell you what was behind that. Deception, seductive deception. They created a seductively deceptive experience, an emotional trigger in you that led you to trust them. What does that mean for us as change agents and leaders that are trying to drive change within our organizations? If we want to leverage this, we need to be clear with those around us that we want to take a journey into potential impossibility together. We must set the stage. So now that we've got this dirty little secret out of the way, let's talk about how magicians do what they do and how to apply that to changes you're trying to bring about in the world. Here's the second lesson that I've learned. There are phases of experience that are created by magic. If you want to make change magical, then you must create these phases of experience. We, as makers of change, must set the stage and take people on the journey for the right reason, the right way. So now that we've set the stage, the first phase of the experience is to set the context. A magician does this with a stage set for a particular effect. An assistant, what they wear, what they say or do, and a wide variety of props that might include swords, balls, wooden boxes, or even multimedia. Their showmanship and elements of presentation have an effect and set the context for something to happen. As change agents, we must set the context for the journey that you want to take people on. We must establish clearly that we are going to explore the blurry edge of possibility together. It can be as easy as drawing a picture of what the future might look like. The next step is to suspend disbelief. We all have assumptions about what is possible, logical, impossible, or illogical. Magicians are excellent at suspending disbelief. They create a space where we believe the impossible might just happen. By nature of your presence at a theater, magic show, or watching a movie, you show you're willing to take a journey. As change agents, we also need to create the space for the impossible to happen. We need to establish that we are taking a journey towards a new place, and that what we aim to do might not be impossible, and that together we can approach it. Next, a shared journey. Magic takes you on that journey to the unknown. A magician unfolds and sets forth a journey for you by managing your attention and awareness. Magicians create a deliberate and specific set of actions to lead you towards a destination. As change agents, we must do the same. We must create the destination, and we need to be able to manage the attention and awareness of those around us to get to the destination. The destination is surprise. The result of the deception of the magician is revealed to us, the magic. Surprise is the magical part of magic. Surprise and magic happens because our model of the world is violated in some way, and that surprises us. We become surprised when something impossible makes its way into our safe definition of the world. Our definition of the world changes at this point. As change agents, this is essentially the finish line. Creating change that surprises those around us is magic, though the last phase, the after effect, is delight. If the goal is positive change, then the ultimate effect to be created is delight. People become delighted because they experience something that surprises them. As change makers, we must create phases of comfortable experience in safe situations where people can journey to see where possible and impossible are allowed to merge. We need to create the right context to take people on journeys, suspend their disbelief, and create the willingness to travel into the unknown towards surprise. That change is magic. Now, the third thing that I want to share with you is about the principles used to create magic. As change agents, we need tools to create meaningful, purposeful transformation within our organizations and communities. As a leader trying to make substantial change, these magical principles can help. I'm going to share just 3 of them with you today. Have you ever heard it said that someone stacked the deck? Do you know what that actually means? Stacking the deck means to arrange something in a way that is dealt out to your own advantage. Have you ever stacked the deck? In cards, that might be cheating, but in life, it is not. Have you ever been in charge of picking a team? Did you go first? You tried to pick the best players. You tried your best to stack the deck. I have. If you can stack the deck to win, you do. Stacking the deck ranges from arranging events, information, and people in an order that optimizes the outcome. If you're on the same team for the same goal, stacking the deck is not cheating. It's how you win together. You should be stacking the deck all of the time. Now, there are other principles that can apply in really interesting ways. Have you heard the word confederate before? Well, a confederate is one who assists in a plot or an accomplice. A confederate is someone that is participating in creating an outcome. And it may not be totally obvious that they are in on it. Once again, this sounds bad in some way, like deception. But if we're doing the right thing for the right reason, the right way, then a confederate can be a good thing. Do you want people on your side? If you want to change the world, you better. So let's just imagine how someone might use this to make change. So let's say, for example, that Joe thinks that the training at his company needs to be changed for the better. So Joe talks to 3 coworkers about what he thinks is wrong with the training. They all agreed there could be a better way. He then, individually with each of them, defines what could be possible, and they each buy in. He also seeds them with problems and solutions to assist one another. So now Joe has created some Confederates for his idea, so he could sit back and see if the idea takes a foothold and grows. That change could be slow going. But if we can get them all in the same meeting to follow his lead as Confederates, it could be a bit faster. So Joe, at the weekly sales meeting, starts to ask questions about how changing training could impact the company for the better. And slowly, each Confederate chimes in, one after another, to explore and support the idea. Seemingly, everyone is on board quickly and the change makes sense. Joe is tasked to lead the change. Well, he's effectively used Confederates. And if he gave them enough context to chime in with the right information at the right time, he stacked the deck too. Let's talk about one more. A big motion covers a small motion. What does that mean? Well, something big in terms of motion hides something small. You can imagine where a big motion might create a bit of cover or misdirection for something that will ultimately have an effect. Where does this occur outside of magic? Where in business? Let me give you a big example that affects change in all of our lives. Government. Yes, the magic of politics. How many times has a big bill passed through Congress that has little things in it that would never pass on their own? This is one way that big motion covers small motion. That's also magic. How can you use this? There are many more principles worth exploring. Many more that can help you to create positive change magically. Magicians are makers that enable delightful change. Magic blurs the edges of the world of possibility in our minds. If you really want to make magical change, you can. First, you set the stage. Second, take people on the right journey through phases of powerful experiences. And third, use all of the principles that you can. So the next time you're thinking about changing the world, remember that you have the power to do so. You can build and nurture the trust of those around you. You can create an environment that allows people to believe that possible has a blurry edge worth exploring. You can create journeys towards the unknown, and you can charismatically lead people there. Just be conscious of the fact that surprise and delight need to be deliberately pursued throughout change. And remember that stacking the deck in life isn't a bad thing.